So today we're going to take a look at how we can set up a document we're going to use for a Go Live Readiness Assessment, or GLRA for short. So GLRAs are really useful leading up to a Go Live because it's really our opportunity to make sure that we, the project team, are helping to brief everybody from the clinical and operational side of things on exactly what's been accomplished to date. And as we move through those conversations, do a sort of passing of the baton so that everything that we are owning from a project team perspective, we're now bringing in our stakeholder, our clinical and operational owners, our sponsors, and everybody on the leadership side of things to make sure they're aware of what we're expecting of them to make sure that Go Live is successful. So let's get to building. Okay, so that's the bulk of the build out right there. It's just making sure we have all the appropriate rows and the necessary columns for being able to capture what we're looking at for any of the green, yellow, reds for what we have for statuses for each of those individual tasks that we need to be tracking on a periodic basis leading up to the Go Live. We typically accomplish these in a periodic fashion over the course of time leading up to the go live, such that we might have one at 90 days out, then 60 days out, then 30 days out, and if needed, even shorter than that, a 15-day GLRA, for example. Early on in these discussions, much of the work is still being owned and managed by the project team themselves. That shifts, that needs to flip whenever we get closer and closer to the go live, because the success of a go live really is dependent upon the leadership of the clinical and operational individuals, making sure they're leaning in, leading out front in front of their team members to make sure that they're actually leading the charge for getting that system up and running. The work for the project team is largely done at that stage of the game, so we want the tool to reflect how exactly we're trying to drive that conversation. It is useful to make sure that the immediately prior GLRA column is visible for the team members, and that's important so we can see trends over time. The best rule of thumb is to always lean towards the more harsh critique for what we're putting for that colored dot. If you're on the fence between yellow and green, lean yellow. If you're on the fence between red and yellow, lean red. That's the best way to make sure that if there is anything there that needs to be addressed, that we get it recognized, we get the attention on it, and then also call out specifically what is it that you're going to work on in the next 30 days or 15 days to be able to get to that spot where you can comfortably and confidently call it green in front of the group, making sure everybody's aware of what changes have been made to get you to that status. So that's a little bit about how the tool can be built, a little bit more about how exactly we approach those conversations. I highly encourage you to consider using a GLRA if you have a go live coming up, and being forward thinking about that at the start of your project. Let people know what these are and how we're going to be using them so that nothing comes as a surprise once we get there. Hope this has been useful. Thanks a lot.